that all of the reasons why it's not possible. So
like, all about money. Like,
usually about funding. Right. Usually about funding, and usually about people who have enacted their privilege to access certain things.
Right.
So this idea that my child worked hard to get into that science program,
right.
and not everyone should have access to it in a way. This sort of idea that if there's not enough pie for everyone.
Right.
I'm Carolyn, and this is Barb, and we are SOS Alberta, and maybe Barb can explain who SOS is.
So SOS Alberta stands for Support Our Students Alberta, and we're a public education advocacy organization. We started about 3 years ago with concerns about class sizes, fundraising, fees, sort of those very frontline, shallower concerns about education. And through our advocacy, we've grown to see that all of those issues, busing, class size, fundraising, fees, are actually rooted in systemic inequity. And our advocacy has followed that line of concerns, and that's really what brings us here and has had us reach out to and connect with other educators and people in education who are concerned with equity in education.
Very much, it's important in the class, and I think it's part of being part of a democracy and part of citizenship is to learn social justice, to learn how to look after your fellow citizens and the fellow humans on this earth. So I think it is very important, and when you're young, this is when you should be learning it. It's something that you can build on throughout your lifetime.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly when kids are the most open, they're the most able to receive this type of information, and it's when we have an opportunity to bring people. Schools are the place where we can bring people from all different walks of life. And as you get older, your circle, not only your circle of influence, but your circle of friends, your circle of exposure tends to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So the most opportune time to put kids into contact with people from different religions, different abilities, different cultures, different socioeconomic status is when they're kids, and it's through public education.
I think any generation, when they're young, when you're a youth, when you're a child, you are just ripe for this kind of social justice and looking after each other and learning about each other. You're just so open, and it definitely is something to be passed down, and it's something to keep going over generations for sure. Yeah.
I think it's actually so important because I think we've seen through the women's movement and even through the civil rights movement, we missed that. We forgot to pass the baton on, and we thought we'd achieved something. I think we thought with the election of Barack Obama, with women becoming engineers and doctors and lawyers, that we achieved a level, and we forgot that equity is a muscle that needs to be exercised all the time or it atrophies. And so there's a generational gap there where we forgot to keep fighting and we became complacent, and so we have to start fighting again. And so it's really important to emphasize to the youth of today that this is a muscle that needs to be exercised, and we have to continue to fight for social justice each and every generation.